So this is why we make prototypes. This is the back panel for my leaf pack. These are the straps. I made it all one piece so that it could conveniently sit up like this and go over the shoulders. Now what I've realized is this actually needs to go this way so that the stained side is on the outside, but if you'll notice, that puts the wrong side of the straps facing upwards. So what I'm gonna do is I've printed out another template, and I will cut this out of leather, and then that will get stitched right side out on here around the edges, which will be good because it'll also reinforce the straps. These are also to punch holes somewhere that I forgot, but this is why I do prototypes. This is why I make one before I make the final one, because then I get one, but also because I forget how geometry and things work because in my brain it'll work, and then I physically print it out and it does not. It's prototypes. Make more than one. Hello friends, it's a lovely rainy Washington Monday afternoon. I've got the leaf pack on my little at-home workbench. I promise I'll be moving on to new things probably sometime during or at the end of the week. But right now what I'm doing is setting up the straps. I realized, as I mentioned last time, that I needed to put this piece on here so that we actually had a nice bit of leather instead of the inside at the top of the straps. You'll notice they don't quite fit, so that'll be something that I fix in my digital patterns. This is the other reason why we make prototypes. I'm a little confused as to how they don't fit because I literally made them symmetrical, but here we are. So I will be stitching and then trimming that. But I've been punching holes. This is different than what I was doing. Typically I do 6mm distance round holes. But I don't really have a great way to measure that out. So these are getting punched with this, which is a 4mm that punch, and it's a angled punch, so that's why it looks different. So that I can stitch these together and then trim it, and then I'll probably sand the edges, re-burnish and stain it in the reverse order. And hopefully that'll look super nice. I've got the sides all stitched, so this is the right side depending on which way you're facing, so that'll attach on that side, and then we'll put the leaves up the middle. I'm waiting on, hardware's kind of a pain. Ideally all the metals will match so that you have like gold D-rings with gold buckles with gold whatevers. But we'll see how this prototype goes. This one may end up being slightly mix and matched, but I'm waiting on, I got some, I think they're called trigger clips. I know them as dog leash clips, but I'm gonna attach D-rings here, which will then attach to a strip of 1-inch leather with the, nope, I'm wrong. Just D-rings. Those won't attach to anything. Will they? Hold on. Now I'm confused. Yes. No. Wait. Who's making this bag? Is it me? Okay, there'll be D-rings, and then there will be the trigger clip so that can attach to the D-ring, and the trigger clip will then have the buckle portion on it, and then this part is attached to the top with the strap, which will then be able to go into the buckle. So what you'll be able to do is set your strap length and then clip it on and off as needed. Whew, we got through it eventually. We did it. But yeah, I'm super stoked. I love these little leaf pockets. They're not big enough for a water bottle, and I'm not sure if I want to change that or not. Because what I could do is make the width of the pocket, at least from about here to here, kind of widen it, but keep the holes on this piece the same, so that what I can do then is when I stitch it on, it'll forcibly kind of poof it out because it's being squeezed, and that will allow a little bit more space for a larger piece. But I don't know if I want this to be like a large water bottle bearing pocket. because then I think it would also need something on this bottom part to allow for like a flat space for that to sit. But for now, these are super cute. They fit like a phone and stuff like that. And then there's lots of room inside the actual bag. This is the lining, which I have all clipped out of the way. And underneath here, I don't know if I can dig down to it, but underneath here are the internal pockets. So I chose to stitch those first because I needed to stitch them on top of the lining, and I knew it would be a really big pain. So I spent a few hours on Saturday wrestling with this lining to get those pockets in there, but you can roughly see the size of them. But now I have this tucked out of the way so that I can stitch other things on here. An order of operations has been really fun to try and work out because I was thinking that I could stitch these sides on, but what I realized is I have to go through these holes with the sides to stitch them in place, which means I have to do this first, which then also possibly means that I have to then put the top on. We'll get there. This is why I'm doing a prototype, because it helps me figure out my process too, and things that I've missed or didn't think about, and adjustments that need to be made, etc. But I'm really excited. It seems like it's coming together quite well, and I cannot wait to actually wear this thing. So I'm waiting on some hardware, and then I'm also waiting on some mink oil, which I'm gonna use to finish everything. Instead of, I usually use Resolene, but Resolene gets a little bit stiff and it's very shiny, and I don't think that's what I want for this, but yeah, and I'm obsessed with this cross stitch. Technically, this works better if it's on the inside, because what this wants to do is fold, because it doesn't really have anything on the inside to stop it from doing that. But it just, whoop, I dropped my phone. But it just looks, it's so pretty, and I love the kind of rustic look. I think it's going to look really nice once it's all put together. So yeah, so my plan is to try to finish this up this week and have the prototype done and the digital pattern set up, because then I can make the one for my sister and move on to some other digital patterns that I'm working on, which I want to have done by sometime in March, for reasons that you guys will discover at some point. I don't know when yet. So we'll see where we get with this today. I'm hoping to get a good amount of assembly done, and see how that goes.
Hi. What are you doing?
She's just creeping at the edge of my table. Death! Oh, there goes the other one. Good morning, kitties. Okay, so another thing that I want to do is I just got these eco-flo water stain dies. I've already had the other one, the red one, and they are for my sister's leaf pack, which is actually the whole reason I made mine. Mine is the prototype so that I could make sure the pattern was good for you guys and for her bag. But hers is going to be differently colored, so I want to play around with these stains with some of my handy dandy scraps and see what we can do with them. So let's see. I want to put, oh, I have to pop this out. Oh, that's going to be a whole thing. Pliers. Always carry or have pliers. Pop that off. And then you have to push the button. Do you have to push and squeeze? No, push the button, turn the thing. Wow. They really want to make sure that doesn't leak. The top is kind of fun looking. Sorry, I can't really see my camera. Got a little squeezy top. So we're going to put some of that in here. Not too much. I want to be able to test mixing stuff. And then we'll pop the thingy off of this one. There we go. And then push and turn. Very childproof. Almost page-proof. Are you supposed to shake this first? No. Yes. I'm the worst at reading when you're supposed to shake something first before you open it. Shake well. Okay, we'll shake the green one, see if it makes a difference. Okay. Do the opening ritual, which if you're me, it's a little challenging. There we go. Okay. Put some of this in here, a little bit more because I want to experiment more with larger surface areas. So initially, looking at this, you can see it's backlit, so it's a little difficult, but they both look quite dark. So I'm excited to see what we can do with them and if we can lighten them up with water and mix them with things. I am going to put a little bit of my... This is not a water stain, so I'm just curious to test and see how it works with these. I had originally ordered a red water stain, I thought, but it didn't come, so I don't know what happened with that, but I'm curious to see if I can mix that in and do something kind of interesting with it. So let's see. The first thing I want to try is just getting a lot of water in my sponge and doing sort of a wash as kind of a base, because the whole top of my sister's leaf pack is going to be green, but like she wants a bright spring green. Maybe I case this first so I get a more even distribution. And then get some sponge, get some water. Ooh, that is a deep green, huh? Ooh, okay. Let's see what we can do. So that's a very foresty green, which isn't quite what I'm after. So I wonder, I need like a big bucket of clean water for my sponge, I think. That's okay, I can rinse it in the sink a little bit later. I'll set it on this paper towel. But it made kind of it's a darker green, so I'm kind of curious to see if I mix yellow. I'm just going to use the water because that's already quite green. If I can get, so that's still very yellow, but the green is coming through a bit. Just want to see if I can make a more yellow green. Still yellow. Let's try grabbing some of the straight green. Man, this yellow is actually surprisingly strong. Usually yellow is a very weak color, meaning it's really easy to overpower it with another color. Okay, that's a bit more yellow-green. I wonder if we really watered that down with some clean water, that might get us closer to that beautiful bright spring green that we want. I'm just brushing this on straight, so it's going to be quite a bit darker, but I think that definitely will get us closer. It's still darker than I would like. I'm actually really surprised by how intense the color is. I don't know how well you guys can see from over there, but this is kind of a deep foresty green color. Hold on. And then you can sort of see, it's all floppy, you know, how strong these colors are. I do quite like that though. That's with a good bit of green mixed in with the yellow, and that's again very strong and not diluted. So I'm going to actually take some of this and get it into this section of my thing and water it down a lot and see if we can't get brighter springy green out of it. Let me grab another scrap. I have a little bag of scraps here so that I can do tests or use them for things like earrings. So that's quite nice. It's mostly just wetting the leather, and normally you apply this with a sponge so you don't get brush strokes and stuff, but I'm trying to just see what colors I can get out of it. It seems like it layers pretty nicely. It's a lot like watercolors, actually. So as this is drying, it seems like it's actually getting a little bit brighter and a little bit closer to the color that I might want. It's not as vivid a green as I was hoping for, which is okay. That might just mean I need to try a different dye. This is a sort of experimental, but that's kind of an interesting color. This is very watered down. It's a little hard to see, but that's kind of a nice, cozy green also. Kind of curious to see what it does on the underside. Oh, that soaks in really nice. So that's a good thing, too. The other thing I was curious about is I'm really impressed by how strong this yellow is. Again, that's usually a very weak color, and it's blending really intensely into the leather, and it makes a really nice bright color. I want to see if I can do an orange by blending some of this yellow and red. They are different dyes, so it's entirely possible that they just will not blend nicely at all. You can see by setting down my sponge. Look how much blue. There's a lot of blue in this forest green, which is why I'm trying to add yellow to it to get more of a springy color. But that's why it looks like such a drastically different color, because it's just got a lot of blue in it. So let's see, will this blend together at all? Red is historically is a very strong color, so I try to only mix a little bit to see if we can get, ooh, yeah, that's a beautiful orange. Very nice and bright. Okay. I like how these layer over each other too. It's very much like watercolors, which is kind of what I was hoping for. They do kind of immediately infect any water you put them into, though, so it'll be, I think, kind of important to have maybe separate containers of water to rinse different colors, or just going to the sink between colors. But yeah, that makes a nice orange. One of the leaf colors that my sister wants on her bag is kind of a sunset ombre thing. So that's why I'm experimenting with mixing colors. Yeah, I don't hate this green. I know that she was hoping for something a little bit brighter. Maybe we can do that with layering, but I think that's just going to make it darker. I know eco-flo has some neon colors. It might be kind of interesting to try blending that. But yeah, these are cool. These are very interesting. The way that they layer over each other is neat, and it does seem like, excuse me, it does seem like it mixes well with this other leather stain that I have, which is neat. So you can sort of see how the orange, you can see the green through it. It's very transparent. It's a lot like watercolors. That's very cool. I like that a lot. I'll have to do some more tests with washes and better ways to clean my brush and my sponge, but that's pretty cool. Look at this bright orange. that I got. If my camera will focus on it. Hey camera, there you go. Maybe? Yeah, there we go. So this is kind of a fun thing you can do too, to create a bit of texture. I'm curious to see how this dries. I just had some extra dye on my brush and I tapped it to create sort of a splattery effect, which might be really nice since this bag is made to look like leaves, to see if I can get some variation. And this is the very watered down yellow-green, and it's not bad. I personally really like it, but I know my sister wants something really bright. This is the straight green. It's got a lot of blue in it. This is kind of the test that I was doing with it mixed. You can see this beautiful orange that I managed to get and how the layering kind of works, which is really neat. And there's a kitty. Hi. Hi, kitty. Yeah, so these are really interesting. I think I'm gonna go look and see if I can find a brighter green. I know now that these seem more willing to play together. So I may look at some of this brand and just see what greens they have. I know there's a Kelly green that's very bright, but I think that turned out pretty neat. Yeah. I'm making straps for a bag, and I have a little shop assistant. Hello. Hello friends, today is Thursday and I'm working on finalizing the digital pattern for the leaf packs that you guys can make your own if you want to. It's a long and arduous process. I use Illustrator. There's lots of holes and complicated pieces, and that's largely what I'm doing today, is making sure these are all nice and lined up. I learned a lot when making my prototype about things that fit, things that didn't, things that were a little too complicated, needed to be simplified, things that needed to be different sizes. I didn't pattern any straps digitally when I first did the prototype, so I did them all freehand, so I have to add those now. And once it's all done, it'll get formatted, and eventually you'll get to buy them if you want to. So be on the lookout for that. That'll be super fun. I think today I might also be doing some more dye tests. I want to test a different kind of dye that I have and see how that works. Are you ready to do a vlog, Bean? Are you ready to do a vlog? Or are you busy doing cat stuff? Okay, sorry if the table gets wobbly. I wanted to try and give you guys a slightly closer look than what you were getting last time. So I want to play with this stuff. This is eco-flo Cova color. This is the turquoise. I'm doing tests with this before buying the green because I want to see if I can get a brighter green than this water stain we played with last time. The difference between these two is the Cova color is actually technically an acrylic paint as opposed to a stain. Typically I prefer to stain leather rather than paint it because I think it looks nicer. You get to capture more of the leather texture and you don't cover up as much. The Cova color gets a bit shiny, so I'll show you what it looks like just straight out of the bottle. And then we'll try to dilute it and kind of see what sort of washes and things we can do. And then I'm curious to see if I can combine it with some of the water stain and see what that does. They're technically two completely different things. So they may not blend at all. And I'm actually just going to grab a little bit from the lid. Okay, so here's just straight Cova color, and it's gorgeous. I'm actually a big fan of it, even though I'm not a big fan of painted leather. I did a journal in this color. It's a bit like, oh, that would work better if I had water in it. Just painted the inside of my water container. There we go. I was thinking that maybe it would automatically fill itself, but alas, we have not reached that stage of technology yet, I guess. Pop a little bit in here to play with. Let's try to dilute it. Because it does say in the description on Tandy's website that you can use this Kova color with quite a bit of water added to do more of a wash. And that is potentially more what I'm interested in for the leaf pack. And I'm applying this with a brush. Ideally, I'll probably be applying it more with a sponge, but I just want to get an idea of how it works. And that's not half bad. It is definitely significantly more diluted. Let's try kind of a spongy wash. See what that does for us. It's hard because I can sort of only test it like the one time, because at a certain point the water itself just becomes wash because it's so tinted with the color. Yeah, so you definitely can give it a bit of a diluted look, and it does look a bit more like a stain when you do that. So here, let's have a look-see. So this is the straight Kova color right out of the bottle, and you can see how it's kind of shiny. It dries pretty quickly, and you do still get some of the leather texture, but not a ton. And then this is more diluted, more diluted, more diluted. So you still get a pretty good amount of pigment, and this is with the sponge. It's a little bit uneven and streaky, but it, you know, I just brushed it on. It hasn't dried yet. I don't know why my camera doesn't want to focus on the giant thing in front of it. There we go. So that has a lot of potential. I do like that a bit more than the water stain that I got, the green. There's just so much blue in that green. So Kova color has a Kelly green that is more similar to this in vibrance, and I think that might be more what I'm after. This variation that you get too with the sponge might be kind of nice for kind of a leaf look, which is what I'm going for this bag. That might help it look a little bit more natural, give it some natural variation, which would be kind of cool. But you can see it's really different from that straight Kova color. You get a lot more of the leather color itself coming through. So that, I think, with the green, might be a great solution. The last thing I want to try, let's see, should we do green or should we do, let's try green. So this is the yellow water stain that we were playing with, and I'm just sort of curious. That's right, it has this really fun, you have to press down and turn, and it's hard for my child brain. There we go. I'm just curious to see if this blends. I haven't really played with dye very much, so I'm curious what ones will blend, what ones won't blend with each other, and how that works. So there's all of our blue. Here's this last little corner. Here's the yellow with the blue. And let's see what that does. It is changing to actually a really nice green. Hold on, guys. Maybe we don't need the Kelly green. Let's see what this does. This is a beautiful, bright, kind of springy green. What does that do? How does that look? Ooh, hold on. Let's see how this works. Because if we can kind of desaturate this a little bit. Oh, you know? See, this is why we test. This is exactly why we test. Hold on. Never leave your brushes in water. It's really bad for the bristles. Regardless of whether or not you're painting or using leather stain. I always try to have paper towel on hand to set them on instead. That is super interesting. Look at that. That's actually, so this is the turquoise Kova color and the eco-flo yellow water stain. That is pretty great. It's still a bit darker. I know my sister wants that really vibrant spring green, but I actually quite like this. That's much closer to what we wanted. And I think if we do that mix and then water it down, like this one, that has a really strong potential to get the tone that we want. So this is why I like to do tests before I buy more supplies, because sometimes you get lucky and you get something that actually works really nice. And what's neat is this already feels kind of dry to the touch. This Kova color dries pretty quickly. And that looks really great. I'm very excited about that, actually. Let's see. Do I have another piece? Okay, so I want to see. Oh, hang on. Don't look now. We're being watched. Oh, hi. What are you doing? Are you helping? Are you supervising? Okay, thanks for checking in. Bye. Anyway. important boss job. Okay, I want to see what happens if I dilute this a lot more. And I might have to fiddle with it a bit. Am I still on screen for you guys? Yeah. Because there's a lot of blue in this water. I'm gonna try more yellow. I'm really excited. I was not expecting that to work. I hadn't even considered trying to mix my own green. There's a lot of blue on the sponge, but I guess I could try the sponge. Just try a different side. Yeah, it's a little bit too blue, but that is definitely a much nicer green. Let me see if I can dig out the green that we did the other day. I should really wear gloves when I do this, but I get excited and then I don't think about it, and then my fingers are colors for the whole rest of the day. I just get to be a little bit decorative. Alright, where's the green? This is the watered down eco-flo green water stain mixed with the yellow. And then this is the watered down green by itself. You can see how much more blue there is in that. And this is freshly wet, so it's going to be a little dark, the one on the left, but that's pretty cool. This is definitely the best version so far. And I like kind of the variation you can get in it. And the nice thing about washes is you can do multiple layers and kind of try to get darker spots and lighter spots and a bit of variation. This one has kind of the feeling that it's got acrylic paint on it, that sort of shiny, plasticky almost finish. This one's obviously still wet, but it feels like more like the leather. It has a lot less of that plasticky quality to it. That's pretty exciting. We may have just found our solution, actually. We'll see. As this dries up, I'm excited to see if it gets brighter, but I think that's a really good option. And I think it'll be easier to do on a larger piece than a small scrap like this, too. It'll be easier to control when I don't have a ton of blue in my water also. But that's pretty sweet. And it seems like it mixes just fine. Like I'm not seeing, will you focus maybe? I'm not seeing like parts of it that are acrylic and parts of it that are the water stain. It seems to be pretty homogenized, which is awesome. That's pretty exciting. So this is a little bit more dry now, the blue wash. And that's pretty nice too. So that's cool. I think that will work out very nicely. And I'm sure that the Kelly Green Kova color is a great option too. But since I have this, I'm going to see what my sister thinks and see if this is green enough. And then we'll go from there. But test what you have and see what you can do. Try things that may be a little unconventional. Mix things that maybe aren't supposed to be mixed. Unless it's like a chemical that could be dangerous, don't mix those. Okay, I'm super excited about this sneak peek at the leaf pack. It's pretty much done. I just have to do one more thing, and that is coat it in this mink oil. So it's sorry. It's basically a conditioner that smooths and waterproofs, preserves the leather, it keeps it nice. I wanted to do that instead of Resolene, which is what I usually do, because Resolene tends to put kind of a shiny coating on. It's not necessarily as flexible, and I don't really want this to be shiny like that, because that's like an acrylic coating. I want it to keep the nice look of the leather. So I got this mink oil. It was suggested to me by JA Fantasy Art. Thanks. And I've never used this before, and I'm super excited to put it on. Their favorite, JA Fantasy Art's favorite way to put this on is like a soft cloth or an old sock. I don't currently have either one of those, but I do have a nice clean sponge, so we're gonna give that a try. You basically just apply it, let it soak in a little bit, and then wipe off any excess. So we're just gonna try it on the top here. And we're gonna see how pretty it looks. Actually, maybe we'll try it with these first, because they're not as important as the top. Don't test your favorite part first. So there it is. It's like a lip balm, really, but for leather. So I'm just gonna get a healthy little bit on here. Not a ton. I just want to coat it. And you can do this before or after assembly. Because this is the prototype and I was making up half of what I was doing as I went, I decided to wait until it was all put together to do this, because I wasn't sure if this is the finish that I wanted or something else. So yeah, so we're just gonna massage this in here. I'm just gonna go right over. Sorry about the wobbles. The hardware. Just kind of get that in there. And it's not picking up anything, so all my stain is staying put, which is nice. But you can see it's kind of nice and shiny. Yeah. Let that soak in a bit. Ooh, it smells really good. This is just leather lip gloss, guys. It kind of smells like lip gloss too, honestly. Let's get this side. I don't know when I'm going to show off the full leaf pack. It might be Friday after the vlog goes up on YouTube. It's kind of tough because I'm really excited to show it off, but it's not going to be available right away. I have some fun plans that don't come to fruition until sometime mid-March. And that involves the leaf pack, and I think it'll be worth waiting for. So that's all nice and glossy and pretty. Just gonna let that soak in for a bit, and then we'll come back and check on it. Okay, it's been all of 2 minutes because I'm impatient. I basically just let it sit for a second and then buffed it with a paper towel. Really? You have so many choices on what to focus on, and you won't pick the thing that's directly in front of you? Come on. There we go. But you can see it's nice, and it's a slick, but not overly shiny. Like the Resolene gets really shiny, and that should be a nice thing to kind of help protect it from weather. I also did the top because I just wanted to see it, and it looks really nice. It's got kind of a nice, smooth, soft feeling to it. And I might try on some parts to leave it on a little bit longer, just to see if that soaks in any better. But this is pretty sweet, so I think I'm just gonna get this whole thing coated on all the important parts, and then it'll officially be done. Alright guys, I think that's gonna do it for the vlog this week. Thanks for hanging out. Looking forward to whatever crazy adventures we get up to next week. I'm super excited to show you guys the leaf pack, and maybe let everybody in on my super secret March plans. I think next week is ideation and designing for the Switch case, and digitizing that, and also I need to finish getting the leaf pack pattern formatted so that you guys can have it as well. Looking forward to that. You guys keep making, stay safe, do cool shit, and I'll see you next week.